Hello, everyone. We are here today with Lil, who is a publisher, and she has created this really cool workshop that is called From Pen to Published in 90 Days. That's a hot title. I hear that and I'm like, heck.
No, don't make a lie out of me. It's 99 days. You got to give us that extra 9 days.
Oh, did I write it wrong in the thumbnail? Oh no. But that is quite a promise. So when people how it's 99 days. So when people show up, what do they have prepared already?
They don't necessarily have to have much prepared. The idea is that we want to get together with them to register the night before the workshop, and there'll be a 2-day workshop in which we'll help them get prepared. So we'll be on with them on Zoom and break it out into different rooms and giving them time to write. And over the course of the 2 days, they will. The only thing they really need to know is that they want to write a book, that they want to write a book that fits the genres of what we're doing, which would be workbook, business book, business memoir, or a reasonably brief memoir, something under 50,000 words. So if they're writing something like that, that's I know that. Like I want to tell my story, or I want to write a business book, or I want to write a business workbook. Then that's all they really need to know when the topic that they're good at. What are they an expert in? Or what's happened to them that they need to write about? What story do they have to tell? And that we take it from there. We're going to outline
on
it. Yep.
this 2 days,
That's
and
it.
then you check in with them every so often and give them the next step and the next step.
So it's a 2-day workshop that we're hoping to do in November. We're working on that. And maybe, like I said, register the night before, and then a Friday, Saturday, where they work with us from around 10 to around 5 or 6 at night, all day. And they'll get their outline written, and they'll get their intro written, and they'll have a scope of their whole book. And we'll go over the interior topics for each chapter that they're going to write and how kind of lay it really out, so have a really strong outline. And maybe even get a little writing done, and they'll get to meet other writers that they want to work with and maybe can communicate with. And then they'll be invited to join our Facebook group to put together. And then it's once a week, like often, like kind of office hours where they can come and hang out. Any of them that want to come and talk about what they're working on and share maybe some of their writing. They get a once a month hourly coach with me and once at 1 hour a month with Pam. So they get 2 personal coaching hours per month where they're each getting that so each they get basically 6 one-on-ones, one-on-one hours with us, professional coaches. They meet the designer for their cover during that period. And then the book goes to our proofreader to be proofread, and it's published. We do the whole thing. And so the entire process from the time they start to actually being uploaded onto Amazon and Ingram Spark for their books will be done in 99 days if they follow our procedure.
That is incredible and
Yeah,
awesome.
it's really doable. It's very doable.
So you probably have kind of not the book outline, but like an outline of the program. Like by this week, you should be at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of.
If we start to see them lagging, we gotta help them, to get. Yeah, every in the first 60 days, they should have written the majority of the book, and it'll be going to proofreading, toward the last month. Even if they've got most of it done, the proofreader will get done some of it and then finalize it. It'll go to typesetting for InDesign, for interior design. So the last month is really the last 39 days are mostly finishing up, getting it really getting the last touches done, going to typesetting, getting the cover done. All
I'm
that.
sure the authors at that point can be working on their marketing and telling people that they have a book coming out and things like that, building that author platform.
Yep, they'll have a cover, cover design, front cover they can start to share, and we'll help them write their back cover copy description and their acknowledgments, and maybe get a forward written by someone who they know, or an intro written for somebody else, or that kind of thing. All their bio. We help them get all the process, all the little pieces and parts that have to be put together, so that they have, and then of course we assign their ISBN numbers, and they get all the whole bells and whistles. The whole bells and whistles, it's the whistles, whistles that they get, for the whole night. Which, if they came to publish with us, they would get all that. They're getting the coaching for next to nothing, compared to what we charge to just go in and do all the publishing. So I don't think it's $1,000 over the cost really to get all the coaching. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that is really cool. I just love the timeline of that. Like, don't dilly dally, just get it done because a book is such a huge benefit to your marketing and getting your name out there and having people see that you are an expert in this topic. Like, it does so much for you.
It
So,
does.
yeah, get it done.
Get it done. Yep. And we're a
So,
big part of that, getting it done.
has your company published?
How many books have we published? Well, to give you an idea, we just bought another 100 ISBNs, so that might tell you something. So yeah, we just had to go through the first one. We've published probably in the last 6 years about 50 books, I guess, but it's ramped up more recently. We started slower.
Yeah.
We really started out a few years ago being a ghostwriting company. Our,
Mm.
our, our actual name of the company is Ghost Writers Network, and that's where GWN comes from because we stopped ghostwriting as much as we did publish. We did much more publishing than ghostwriting. So we've been in the last year, we've been just that number has
Yes,
exponentially
I'm sure
changed.
it has skyrocketed
Yeah,
because
it's
you
got yeah.
work
The
on
last year we
two
really
books.
skyrocketed. We started publishing a whole lot. We're publishing probably 3 or 4 books a month at this
Wow.
point. Yeah. So
Mm.
and there's always something in process, and there's always a compilation book in process, and who's next. And people are calling us, I need to do this, or I need to do that, or whatever. Some of them come with like one lady came this month with most of her cover design done. We just have to alter it a little bit, do a little bit of most of her work was done. She even had the book fully edited. All we have to do is do the publishing work, and that's even less than our normal cost because we're not creating a custom cover. She's already got one, and that's a lot of the cost.
Cover
So
is a big deal. I don't
it's a big
know.
deal.
Authors are so focused on the writing part, like myself, like very fixated on the words. The words have to be perfect. And we really don't think enough about how important the cover is because we hear that don't judge a book by its cover, but everybody judges a book by its cover. Like,
Yeah.
that's the one thing in life you should judge by the
I
cover.
can't judge that by its cover. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If it's not an enticing cover, it's not professional looking. It's going to be difficult. And the back cover copy, the description of what you say in the back. Uh, this is not a place to put your bio. This is a place to put, unless that's this whole thing is about what an expert you are in something that's kind of technical or whatever. But even then, tell them what the book's about and why they should write it. Get some keywords in there that people might find if they're looking for self-help or help with parenting, or they're looking for help with
Yeah,
autism.
why they should read it. Like,
Why I
what's
should read this, and
crucial.
people will look and they'll research you, and that keywords on a book cover are just the same as keywords on a website. You have to have
Mm,
some, which we also make. We make websites and all that stuff too. So we know that world very well.
fantastic. Oh my gosh, that's so much. How did you get started being first the Ghostwriter Network into being a publisher? This is going to be a fun story. Look at
Well,
your
I
face.
always like to tell people I always like to tell people I have the dream job I never knew I wanted. So I've been a writer most of my life, but not as much professionally as I started to do more like about 8 or 10 years ago in terms of books. I mean, I've always written blogs and I've written for a very long time. I've owned a web development company for better than 15 years, doing mostly at this point mostly WordPress websites. And often people would come to me wanting me to write blogs, or they want me to write their content, write press releases and articles. And then it morphed into meeting up with a gentleman who needed a ghostwriter to write books. And I'm like, I'll give that a shot. And then we wound up parting company, shaking hands. He went in one direction, I went in another. And I started my own company about 6 years ago with the idea that I would mostly ghostwrite. And then people came to us and asked us to do some simple publishing, which I had learned at my last job how to get most of that done, or at least a handle on it. So I'd finish a book and they'd say, well, how do we publish this thing? I'm like, okay, well, here's how. And little by little, we got, stronger and better in that department and hired more people to edit and more people to do book design, cover, interior design, all of that. And so it slowly morphed in that direction. During COVID, I wrote a lot. Um, there was a lot of people who just wanted to write their own stories and were home and they were locked in. So we wrote several memoirs and books. I was the ghostwriter for several people during that time, and some of them traditionally published or went with us to publishing. And then the compilation books, which I got into during COVID. Someone had an idea to do a compilation book, and I did that with her. And we did actually 2 books together, and that morphed into a big piece of our our business, which I didn't realize, and I figured it out. This is a really good thing. And, you know, how can I do this in a way no one else was doing it that was more comfortable for the producer, or lucrative for them, less scary, that if they didn't get
Oh,
the people on
interesting.
board that they were going to be investing all this money and nothing would happen. So I worked out a much better system that we
Now I'm
still
curious,
do.
what
So
sets you apart from other hybrid publishers who do multi-author books? Do you know
well, with
who?
the compilation book, what sets us apart is there's absolutely no fear. There's no guarantees. There's no set. This is the fee. Whether you get people or not, you got to give us a deposit, and if you don't get them, oh, too bad. We work with you before you even start. I sit with you for like an hour or two, and get what's your theme, how much do you think your people can afford to pay. It's an equation. So if people can't only afford a certain amount, give them a little less real estate. You're basically selling real estate in a book, right? So if you can only afford this much, you get to write this many words. If you can afford this much, you get to write this many words, and so on. So, for
Oh,
example, we have a book on renting, and she wanted her people to spend $1,000 to be in the book, and she gave them 2,000 words to write. Now she's going up in price a little bit. She's going to give them a little bit more to write, more time, more space, 2,500 words, 3,000. So we know like if it's a church and people only spend $500, well maybe we need to get 35 people to be writing 1,000 words, right? And they'll write a shorter chapter, and they can put why they came to the church and what the church means to them, and so we figure out the balance of that equation, and then we make you a flyer without any money from you. We make you a really pretty flyer with your logo, and here's what I'm doing, and here are the dates. We reverse engineer the dates. Like if we know we're going to launch January 1st, what do we need to have the money by? When do we need to have chapters by? When do we need to have editing done? And we've already created all of the contracts for you to send to your authors. You don't have to do that. We do that. It's already done. The legalese is in there. The addendums are in there to make sure they don't
wow.
steal somebody else's writing and you get in trouble. So all your protection is there. And we just fill in your parameters with your logo and send you off with contracts and send you off with graphics and ammunition to go get the authors. And all your job is mainly is to sign up the authors and collect that money, and we take a percentage of that money. So if you get we get, generally speaking, we get around 60% of the author money up front. You keep the 40% as a producer of gathering the authors, but you get all the royalties. We don't take any royalties on the back end, and we don't take any upsell of the books to anyone on the back end. You can sell the books. All the money you make from then on in perpetuity belongs to you, not us. So we get all our money up front, and yet we coach, we edit, we publish the book fully, we upload all the files into your accounts, and we help you determine how to sell them as much as possible. Help you with a marketing campaign, an Amazon bestseller campaign if you want, and all for our
Man,
percentage up
you
front, and
have
then we're
like
done. No one else does it.
you have launch plans for people, because that's something that
Yep.
I think is very scary. Like, how do I actually get this book out there in front of people?
Yeah, it's a little scary. We do them like every week practically. It seems like we're launching somebody. Well, yeah, pretty much lately, almost every week we have a launch or two. But it is what it is. But we do, like I said, nobody that I know of offers that much already done for you stuff, that much hand holding, that much coaching. We do an awful lot, and without you worrying that I've had several people who just couldn't get their office together. Oh well, we spent a little time with them. We gave them some graphics. We gave them some ideas, and if they didn't get there, they didn't get there. They'll come back. We've had a couple come back later and say, "I think this time I've got enough people, and okay, then we'll start again." That's all. So, but about 89% of the time, they know what they're doing. They get enough people to be in the book, and everyone is happy, and people get to be published authors, Amazon best-selling authors, and producers get to make an income at what they do to produce the book, whether they're a coach or a nonprofit or what have you. So nonprofits, we do a 50-50 split. So
Oh,
if you're a
okay.
legitimate nonprofit with a 501c3 and you're actually an NGO or nonprofit, we go half and half with you, so you can make a little bit.
Wow. That's fantastic. And you were saying about the pen to published workshop that people can, if they have like a group or a community, they could have kind of a private session of that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you belong to an organization where you've got, let's say, a half a dozen people who all need to write a workbook or a book of some sort, you're a coach. Coaches, listen up. So if
Sure.
you've got, if you've got a whole bunch of clients, like you're a good, coach who's a successful coach or consultant that has maybe 50 or 60 coaching clients, or you've got a group that's got 100 or so people in it. If you find a half a dozen of them that want to do this together, or more, up to a dozen, I would say six would be kind of our minimum,
Mhm.
to maybe 12 would be our maximum, then you could arrange for them to be their own group. Like where, as opposed to a compilation book, they can write their own book with us and have it fully published for less than $4,000.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, if people want to learn more about this or get started with it, what steps should they take?
I can give you all my. I don't know if I give you all my links already, but they can. If you want to be involved in the one that we're coming up with, let us know. We have a discount for people who've been on your thing. We'll even give you a little bit of a discount. The cost is $3,997 to go to the one in November. But you're watching Carol and saying we'll take $500 off for you. So it's $34.97. So
Okay.
that's a really good deal. They can email me and get instructions on how to put their deposit in,
Okay.
497, and then it's 1,000 a month after that. We have a link for them to go and make the payment, so if they want to do that. So they can contact me, and I can. Do you need me to give you my contact information in chat, or how do we want to just send it out later?
Yeah, I can add it to the show notes later.
Sure, we'll add to the show notes later. I've got a Calendly link, that if they want to take time to meet up with me about anything from they need a ghostwriter, an editor, someone who's very reasonable price for publishing your book for you with you, not us, collecting your royalties. We never take royalties. It's not our thing. So we have a flat rate to create your design work, your interior, your cover, your back cover copy, your upload of files, all that. We do everything for you, basically. You just hand us the book. As long as it's edited and you feel it's right. But we have editors too. If you need a proofreader or an editor, we can charge you for that as well. But we do have all those services, graphic services, web services. If you need a website, we can build your entire platform with your book, whatever you need to do, from
Yeah.
your logo on out.
Yeah, so it sounds like a good idea for people to get on that Calendly and just find out what options are best for them because you've got a lot of a la carte, like really customized to what people need to get their book done.
Well, yeah, we're a big proponent of doing it. The statistics are sad. Somebody was Blaney was saying to me the other day. We were on a thing with Blaney's. I was speaking with her and on her uh, 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 seminar or webinar. She had a big event, and she was saying people always say, "Well, in our community, oh, it seems like everybody's writing a book. Everybody's writing a book." She said, "But I live in Maryland." And I drive the Beltway, which is, if you've ever driven the Beltway in Maryland, is a parking lot, basically. And she said, when you drive the Beltway and there's all these cars and all these people, just look around you. Most of those people that have written a book, they're not in that world. We're in the world of coaches and consultants, and a lot of people are working on books. But the people who are going to read your book are not writing books. The truth is that about 10% of the people who start a book finish it.
Hmm, that's
That's a
not many.
sad
Just
statistic.
the
They
ones
just
that
don't get it
start.
done. And that, of course, includes a lot of fiction people who start with a fiction book and never finish it. And I've written and ghostwritten a lot of fiction. But you're not going to finish it without somebody to help you finish it, get it done, right?
Yeah.
And if you do finish it, a lot of people, it's the same statistic on getting it published. People finish books and then let them sit there on their shelves. They're sitting in a Word document and they don't ever get it published, or they don't know what to do to get it published, or they publish it and they're disappointed because the cover's not good and it's not put up right, or they didn't understand the parameters of publishing, and so no one buys it, and then they're disappointed. So we'll help you with all that so that doesn't happen to you. You finish, get published, and we'll help you try to figure out ways to get noticed with that book and how to get out there and promote yourself. You know?
Very nice. Yeah. Start to finish, the whole thing. That
Yeah,
is
get it
wonderful.
done. Get it done.
Yeah, people do need that support. It's true. And I keep seeing that same kind of thing about how many people have that dream of someday being a published author. And it's really heartbreaking that so many don't make it to that milestone. It's such a thing to be proud of and to be able to say, yeah, I did that. Like, it's huge.
It is huge. Even the compilation books, people who write 1,000, 2,000 words, you'd be surprised how much they make use of that, and they get on more podcasts, and they get. I'm an Amazon bestseller. Every one of our compilation books so far has gone Amazon bestseller. So we technically have made something in the neighborhood of 300 Amazon bestsellers, with just those alone. Never mind the singular authors we work with, and often they are doing that as well. Summer Pisha, I say her name wrong, it's Pia, but it looks like Picha. She just got best top seller in her category on her own. She just got out there and told everybody about the book, and now she's out selling the book this week. In fact, tomorrow she'll be at a big conference with her book, and she'll tell you we pushed her. I mean, she always says she makes jokes about my coach said I'm not telling you because I'm her coach, and we got her. She wrote the book. I didn't write it, but we stayed with her and kept her on track and got the book published. And now next month we're talking about book number 2. Nobody when you write the first one, you start to write the second one and the third one. It's really something else. It's like
It's a
potato chips.
ridiculous process.
Yeah, it's like potato chips. You can't eat just one, I guess. Something, but yeah, I mean, we love working at what we do. We love what we do. I have a tremendous staff of designers, and I have a great web developer who does all our websites, and terrific editors and all that. So it's a good group. I'm very happy to be the head honcho around here, I guess, or whatever. So.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we will get that Calendly link for people. And do you have any parting wisdom that you would like to leave us with?
Tell your stories. Everybody has a story. I hear people say, well, maybe my story's boring or whatever. Your story is going to affect someone. Even if you're going to write a business book, don't write a boring book. Write one that you tell stories in. Tell stories of who you helped, who was benefited from your program, and why, and how they were broke and now they have a nice house, or they were sick and now they're healthy, or they were just in despair and now they're not in despair. Tell your stories, okay? Coaches, get with me. We need to get some books out for you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. And we will say goodbye.